Hey guys, welcome to a Apex training video that I'm going to be doing today with you guys. It's just going to be basics and some tips I hope that you've not figured out on your own yet. If you have, that's good. If you haven't, then I hope this helps. We're going to be going over two fundamental things in Apex. One is movement and the other is weapons. So we're going to start with the movement. Just three techniques I'm going to teach in movement, and I'm going to teach a technique for pretty much every weapon. Just a quick disclaimer, I'm ruling out the Havoc, and the reason I'm ruling out the Havoc is because of its shitty wind-up time and it just taking too long to fire, so it's just not really practical for this situation. And I'm ruling out the charge rifle because for some weird reason at the time of recording this, at least, it doesn't really connect well with the moving targets like it should on players, and it just flops the front targets without any laser damage. It only really impacts the blast damage that the charge rifle gives, so I just thought I'd get away with that. So the first technique we're going to be going over is the most basic technique of Apex Legends, that's how to jump slide. So basically, remember this is on a 2.5 second cooldown. So basically what you want to do is you want to crouch while you're running and then jump really quickly. If you do this in quick succession, you see it slows you down and you get nowhere. So just keep a sort of mental timer in your head. Just remember, like, jump slide, jump slide, jump slide, jump slide, and this will greatly increase your movement across any playing field. It's also good for dodging bullets. You can start throwing in swings as well when you're moving. Be really erratic with your movement. You can dodge bullets. Also, if you consider when you're running away from people, if they're aiming at your head and you're just suddenly duck and dive, that bullet's going to go over your head instead of hitting you. So that's a useful technique. The second technique I want to teach you guys is a not really well-known one, but it can actually be a lifesaver both when you're actually alive and also when you're going down as well, and that is wall kicking. And the way you do this is you run, you go to hold or climb a wall, and as you hear the shuffle, you jump off and you slide. And what this does is it launches you backwards. You can keep going backwards. If you were in this down state right now, you'd just still be sliding until you hit here. You're now a good 36 meters away from the danger that you were in. So basically, I'll do that again for you guys. What you do is you run up the wall, as soon as you hear the shuffle, kick off, slide backwards. It's that easy. And you can do this in any direction as well. You can do it downhill, uphill, on the flat. You can do it flat as well. So yeah. Now the third and final technique I'm going to teach you, I believe, is definitely last but not least, is crouch leaning, because crouch leaning can actually save your life in gunfights, and also if you can get good with your aim. I'm just going to grab a quick gun and show you how this works. So basically, imagine someone firing here at us, well, what we will be doing is we will be ducking, we'll be running, and we'll be ducking side to side. And you want to be sort of aiming for like a V. If you're like sliding all over and running all over, and you're constantly crouch leaning, you see the gun tilting, and then you can aim in, aim out, and you'll be surprised in a panic if you start spamming crouch, you'll just start dodging bullets everywhere. Pull back, pull forward, just make your movements as erratic as possible while spamming that crouch. Make sure you're throwing jumps and slides in there as well. Your enemies are not going to know what to do with you. So basically that's the three best movement techniques I can give you guys. Right, so now onto the guns, guys. And before we make a meme of this, there's a reason I have the Mozambique. I'm not saying you should use this in any match if that's your personal preference. I mean, if you love this gun, Godspeed to you. If you don't, that's cool. But for this training exercise, it's essential because we have 3 bullets in the mag. And we're going to need it for this exercise. So basically, this is the pistol exercise. This is the first gun technique I'm going to show you. We're going to use a Mozambique and a wingman. We'll get to the other 2 pistols later, but for this exercise, they don't fit into this category. So basically, what you're going to do with these is there's 3 targets here and 3 targets here. You're not going to move from this spot here. Now, this is down to personal preference. If you prefer to be on the left-hand side, you can do it here, but don't move out of this invisible square right here. Make sure you're always in here, firing from here. And you want to aim down sights, but you want to kind of snapshot. So, for a disclaimer here, what I'm going to tell you guys is I'm going to edit the video heavily here because no one's perfect, and you're not going to get every shot on point every time, and I want you to see the best result from this. So I'm going to be editing it for the sake of one take rather than loads of failed takes. So for the first exercise, Here's the demonstration. Also, it's worth to note with the Mozambique, also with firing it in like a semi-shot, once you've got the 3 targets on a semi, hold the trigger down so it's using its auto, because most people don't realise the Mozambique is actually automatic, and just try and get those 3 shots consistently while you're automatic as well, and always aim for the head. Right, the second exercise we'll use the Flatline and the R301, and the way we're going to do this is we're going to use them in single fire mode this time. And what you want to do is hit each one of these targets. These 3, these 3, and these 3. And you want to do it as fast as possible. If you want to start slow and take your time, 1 bullet in each one. You've got 9 targets and either 20 or 18 bullets. You can use whichever gun you feel comfortable with. I would recommend the 301 though, because it does a faster single fire rate. And just work on your speed, going between targets, making sure you hit them all. And here's the demonstration. Third weapon technique we're going to be doing is the Prowler and the Hemlock. Now these are both burst weapons. One's a 5 burst, one's a 3. And you're going to start by aiming at these, just to get the feel for the recoil and, you know, the bullet pattern of the weapons. Because a lot of people don't tend to use bursts, but bursts are really underestimated in this game. They're like the most powerful guns in the entire game when used properly. So what you want to be doing with these is just aiming here, getting used to the recoil patterns, and then when you're used to that, you want to be moving down here, kind of in the same vein as the Mozam Wingman exercise, but you want to be aiming for heads and try and get as much damage out the targets as you possibly can. So obviously, whatever you score on here as the most damage, for example, 66, you want to double that, aim that for here. And then you know whether you're close or not. Even if it's like 2 hit the head, 1 hit the body, that's probably still enough to drop someone in 1 or 2 shots. So keep that in mind. And here's the demonstration. The fourth lesson is LMGs. Now LMGs are kind of weird in some people's eyes because not everyone uses them. Everyone likes, you know, the fact that they're so heavy and slow, but this may prove useful to you. So come over one from Bloodhound to the left, and you want to stand on this crease here between these 2 panels, right here. And you want to aim at these 2 targets, and what you're going to do is Spitfire or Devotion, your preference, and what you want to do is you want to hit fire side to side and spread as much damage between these 2 targets as you can. Try not to stack it all on one enemy, because obviously the other enemy would just flop you in return. So you want to keep the pressure on both enemies, dealing as much damage as possible, installing as much fear and panic into your enemy as possible, because LMGs can be really feared in the wrong hands. The fifth lesson is the P2020, and what you want to do is you want to stand on this crease here, and you want to aim at these 2 targets, and you want to put practically 5 bullets into each target as quickly and effectively as possible. You can either do this hip fire or aim down sights, but bear in mind that the crosshair does go in when you aim down sights, so you will aim a lot more steady. Weapon lesson 6 will be with the shotguns, the Peacekeeper and the Mastiff. Now what we're going to do for this technique is we're going to do a little technique that Fortnite made popular called drop shotting. What you're going to do is you're going to run, you're going to jump, and as you're dropping, you're going to aim for the head. always aim for the head because it does insane damage when you do. Same with the Mastiff, except you just need to remember to keep a slight more bit of range because of the horizontal recoil. But remembering aiming down sights does make the spread a lot smaller, so if you can just do a jump and a drop shot and a shot, that would be even better. So yeah, here's the demo. With Peacekeepers being really aggressive weapons, you've got to be on your toes all the time. You've got to keep moving. Keep aware of your surroundings. Lesson 7 is going to be the EVA 8. A lot of people tend to avoid this shotgun, but obviously with the new hop up in Season 3, having immense burst damage, I felt that it was important that you should at least learn to use it if it's the only available weapon to you, say at the start of the game. This will flop squads on its own if they're not wearing body armor. So basically, this is a shotgun that's quite unique. If you look when I aim down sights, the scope doesn't change. The spread is exactly the same whether you aim down sights or not. So you may benefit more from hip firing with this gun. And I'm going to show you why now. Is going to be about burst spray weapons. Weapons that can do a lot of damage and that are usually auto. The reason why I included the RE45 in here is because it didn't really suit the P20 or the Mozam exercise, with it being too unpredictable to be firing single bullets. So I decided to file it with the R99 because they just both work in a similar vein. So basically what you're going to do with these two guns and the alternator as well is you want to start from the middle, and you just want to hip fire and put as much damage into these 3 targets as possible. And where you're going to stand here is just in front of this rail, just in front of this target. And you're going to either go from the middle to the right and then to the left, or you can go from the middle to the left to the right, whichever's most comfortable for you, because people have different ways of doing it. So whichever's comfortable. And here's the demo. And the 9th and final lesson will be snipers. And I wanted to leave this till last because there's 2 ways you can approach this. You can either approach it from the hilltop up here, which gives you the long shots for the targets at the back. So this is what we're going to be aiming at, these back targets, and especially this moving target here, because what you need to work with snipers is you've got to account for the bullet drop, the time it takes for the bullet to hit the target. So I always believe that working with snipers on these back moving targets is always a positive thing. So you can use the Kraber, the longbow, and the triple take for this. I'm not including the G7 Scout because I believe you can use either the Wingman and Mozam technique, or you can use the P20 technique, because the G7 is such a fast firing scout rifle that I think it works better short range to medium range than it does over long range, because it easily has the slowest bullet time of all snipers. So I just believe sticking to the G7, even with the double tap, at close to medium range, and you'll find that it's just sweet. So with the Kraber and the longbow and the triple take, you can either take it up here into this top bunker here and aim at the back, or you can take it right to the top here using this zip line. You can take it straight up the top and aim up there. So here's the demonstration. And I want to give you a bonus lesson, because look at all these zip lines. I'd say this is the perfect opportunity and time to be practicing shooting whilst on zip lines, because the shooting is quite janky, and we've seen the trailers, we've seen the, you know, montage gameplay videos where people get awesome knocks on zip lines, but you can never seem to do it. Let's practice it here. So basically you've got 2 entry points, you've got one right up there and one here. You can just take a zip line up, whatever weapons you want, because you've got all that knowledge now from all different weapons and how to move. So basically you can just jump on a zip line, go so far across, use your gun of choice, aim at any target. When you get near the end, jump, go back the other way, keep rinsing and repeating this. Now you can aim for the back targets, the mid targets. You can even challenge yourself and aim for headshot targets with the sniper on the dummy targets. And just practice on a zip line. You can use any of these you want, whichever one's most comfortable to you. So yeah, let's get you a demo. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. I hope that's helpful and informative and you learn a lot, and it just pushes you and strives you to be a better player. So yeah, hope that helps.